Welcome to Mom Boss Chronicles, the show that celebrates the incredible journey of mom bosses who are conquering the world of business and motherhood. We are your hosts, Jen,
Danielle, and Sue.
Make sure to like and subscribe and share with your mom friends today.
Hello, welcome back to Mom Boss Chronicles. We are here today with Andrea Cernero. She is the owner and operator of Babysitters Club NJ. She is also a licensed therapist, which I just learned this morning, very excited about, a jack of all trades. And who better than to kind of be facilitating a boutique babysitters club than someone who also is like mentally sound.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah, for sure. So thank you so much for coming on today. We really appreciate it. First and foremost, what inspired you to start this business?
So I would say having my own kids. I have 2 kids. I have a 4-year-old son and a 2-year-old daughter. And just the experience of not always being able to have reliable and consistent sitters. I'm not from Monmouth County. I'm from North Jersey.
Oh my gosh, okay.
And my parents actually were in North Jersey until the pandemic, and then they moved to LBI full time. So not having like local family, like my mom's great and she'll come at any time, but not having that, somebody to run over to get your nails done or just do anything. And having my second child, I realized like the importance of leaning on other people for help. I think with my son, I just tried to do it all, and that was interesting.
Yeah, but the first child, right? Like, oh, we got this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that just being able to find reliable, consistent sitters was not easy. So since I had my son, I had the idea, but I really didn't start doing the work and getting the business together until the birth of my second. So as you stated, I'm a licensed therapist. I actually supervise a practice, Navasink Wellness Center. We have locations in Rumson, Lincroft, and Hoboken. So that keeps me very busy.
For sure.
But through my work, and I specialize in working with the perinatal population. So I work with a lot of moms. I have a lot of mom friends. And the one thing that always comes up is childcare. It's like the number one stressor. Is
so true.
How am I going to transition back to work? How am I going to find balance in my life?
Yes.
All those things fall back on having help.
Yep.
And it's always mom, I feel like, who stresses about that more. Dad doesn't think about it as much as mom thinks about that part of raising a child.
It's just expected. They go to work.
Yeah.
Kids are sick. They stay.
I don't know if for you guys, but for me, the work part is the easy part. Like to be able to go to work.
Yeah.
And that's the easiest.
Yeah.
The days, so right now I'm in the office 2 days a week. Those are my easy days. The days I'm home are the harder days.
Yeah.
It's to your point.
Yeah.
It's something we think about and we have the mom guilt for if we're working or if we're not. So having that comfort in knowing that your child is safe with somebody is so important. But I would say, so the number one thing that always came up in conversation, whether it was with my girlfriends, like, oh, we're making plans tonight. Oh, I can't come. I don't have a sitter, right? You always hear that from your friends.
Yes, 100%. And I will say, because my husband passed away some time ago, and I don't have a lot of family in the area. I mean, granted, I have great friends and support system, but on the drop of a hat, if you want to do something, I wish I knew about your business like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to hear about yours.
Thank you. But like, this is incredible because there's so many also like whatever walk of life you're in, single mom, married mom, whatever,
You
whatever
need
that is,
help.
you need
That's
help.
the biggest thing.
It really
right?
does
It
take a
doesn't matter
village.
if you have like the best support system. Sometimes somebody isn't available.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you need to tap into support. So that was sort of like the model is back to 90s old school Babysitters Club. Like,
Which, did you read the books?
yes.
I loved it. Me too. I loved
And
it.
I didn't know, so I actually had to trademark the business name because it's associated. So going through that process, I didn't know this. I just learned they did a reboot of Babysitters Club on Netflix
I didn't know that.
Gosh, I didn't know that.
good
in
watch.
2020.
That's awesome.
So the little snippet trailer was a call, like the girls on a call, and they're like, imagine you had a place where you could just pick up the phone and call and get great babysitters. I'm like, yes, that's what we need. Why do I have to try to vet 10 girls or see who's available? And like, we do have, I don't know if you guys are familiar with like Peninsula Babysitters or NJ Shore Sitters. There's all these Facebook groups that are really helpful, but you are still doing the legwork.
Yeah.
And that's the difference that Babysitters Club, we do that for you.
That's awesome.
And the vetting.
So the vetting.
I think that's obviously a huge part. Who are your children around? Because of course, on paper, some people can look incredible. You know, yes, you're your
have experience.
credentials
Yeah.
look really good, but what do we really know?
Exactly.
So do you take like, I guess, applicants from people who are able to babysit and are like, I want to watch children?
Yes, so both ends of the business.
That's awesome.
So the one side is gaining sitters to be part of the pool, let's say, or part of the club. And then the other side is family membership. So vetting the sitters is the biggest and most important thing because
Yeah.
I'm putting my name on it. Right?
Yeah.
Like, and especially like coordinating care for your child, which is the most important thing. So I think it's taking the hassle out of the scheduling. It's knowing that a vetted sitter is walking through your door.
Yeah.
And just having that comfort to be able to pick up the phone and not have to spend time. We worry about so many things as moms.
Right.
Like, take one thing off your plate where you can make that dinner plan or the date night and just say, okay, I'm going to call Babysitters
And I'll
Club.
find coverage, yep.
And they'll have somebody.
That's awesome.
And, as we're small and as we continue to build, I can try to match people with the same sitters. So this way they have, I think that's the biggest thing I hear is like, well, I really like consistency.
Because our kids get used to that sitter. Yeah.
So we're trying our best to do that.
That's
But
cool.
it's also good for kids to get used to other people.
That's true.
And sort of like I keep that background information to say, oh, okay, well, you're going to Sue's house and, give a little bit of that background knowledge. So this way you also don't have to do that. But everybody's level of comfort is different.
Yeah.
So some people are taking advantage of doing like a little meet and greet prior. You don't have to because it's a vetted sitter.
Yeah.
But still for your own personality or to show them around your
Yeah.
house or, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Sorry, I feel like I'm jumping.
No,
around.
I love that. Yeah.
But like it takes care of that. So, and then the scheduling piece is what's important too, where, we're bringing work to sitters who don't have to find it for themselves.
So true.
They love that.
Because as a sitter, and I used to babysit when I was
too.
in college. Yeah, I would have to put my name out there, like, if you need somebody, call me.
Yeah.
But they don't have to like
Right.
keep approaching families.
Well, I guess on that side too, like as a babysitter, a vetted and a good human being, like you want to make sure the family you're going
so
to
true.
is actually
Right, like, whose
vetted
house am
as
I
well.
going to?
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. Because
Yeah.
who knows what goes on in people's homes, right? So I guess in some capacity, right? You got
And I'm doing the vetting on
Right.
that side
Yeah.
too, because
Yeah.
in order for the family side, in order for them to join the club and be a member, we have to have an intro call.
Yeah.
Like I need to
love that.
understand who you are, where you're located, your children, hear about pets, everything that's in your home. So this way, when I am sending somebody into the house, I understand that.
Right.
So that's really important.
That's
too.
awesome. It's like a matchmaking service.
It's literally like a dating app for
Yeah.
like matching sitters and
love that.
families.
Yeah.
Which eventually is the goal to
Yeah.
have an app like a I know there's so many
That
like
would be cool.
there's like sittercitycare.com, but making it be very personalized.
Yeah.
That's the difference. And because everyone, people have a lot of opinions, good, bad, right? It helps your business grow. But I think that's the one thing I'm hearing too is like, well, we already have Facebook groups or there already is care.com, but the vetting is not on
Yeah.
any of those things. I see some people posting like, hey, I need a sitter tonight at 5. I'm like,
I know.
I could never.
I know.
Great. If you could do that, awesome.
Yeah.
But why not call a place where you...
I could never. And you know what's funny? I would, like you mentioning care.com, it wouldn't even occur to me to look on care.com. Like I would feel better because you're local, right? Like at least you're immersed in this community and, your reputation's on the line, right? So I know your business is going to really do their due diligence.
True. Yeah,
Exactly.
you have to put your face to it. Yeah.
And it's different than like a big corporation that like really the model of care.com, Sitter City, all those things, which are great. Anybody can sign up and post a job. And again, it's taking the legwork, right? You have to reach out to the sitters.
Yeah.
You have to interview.
Call their references.
You have
Yeah.
to call their references.
Yes.
I do all of that.
Yeah.
So again, you're picking up the phone. And for a date night too, do you really
Yeah.
have time to post?
Yeah, no.
No.
Right.
You're like, I just want to be able to say, hey, I'm going out Saturday night.
And have a little spontaneity in your life, right?
Yeah. And we're also, so really the model for the business started just date nights, occasion sitting, like maybe mom needs to run an errand or go to the gym, get your nails done, do something for you. And I've had a lot of requests to do more long-term placements.
That's awesome.
So really help out with like the part-time or even like longer-term,
Like
more
consistent.
consistent.
Yeah.
Like I need a Tuesday, Thursday, or I need, whatever that
Like a
may be.
standing schedule, like every other Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're kind of introducing that as part of the business too, to help find because really a lot of the sitters are full-time nannies and are doing date nights, wanting some extra hours. So I think it's like kind of the same pool of people.
Yeah. And also for a mom, like I guess if you're working or doing a temp job, like it's good to know, like maybe for a temporary, the summertime or a teacher, like, hey, for this period of time, I just need somebody 1 or 2 days a week. Can you help me find that?
Exactly.
Yeah, because that's stressful.
And a lot of times too, people don't need full-time help is what I'm finding, but they pay because they don't want to lose the person.
Yes, I know what you mean.
So
to
if
reserve
you
it.
two, right, like if we could share a nanny between the two of you, but you need somebody to coordinate that.
Yeah. To know that Sue even wants that. Like, and you don't know unless you call a company who's like, I can match you with another family who needs that. Yeah.
It's like matchmaking. Is really what it is. And I've been a connector my whole life.
That's
like,
awesome.
Like since I've been younger, I had like so many different groups of friends, and I was always like, oh, well, this is like not a great thing, but I'm like, no, it's just my personality.
Yeah.
Was to always be able to connect people. So I'm like, this is like
You're like a broker.
Yeah.
I got a person.
like my friends call me literally as I was walking in here. It's like, oh, do you have XYZ? Like anything. And
awesome.
most of the time I'm like, yeah.
I know
Or
somebody.
I can connect you. I know somebody.
That's
And I'm like, wait a minute, this could be a positive thing. It doesn't have to be.
I love how you followed who you are. Like, that's who you are. And you made a business out of what you are good at. That's so cool.
Yeah, connect.
Yeah.
I like to connect to. I like to get to know people and talk to them on both ends too. So it's helpful.
Yeah.
So how do you prevent people from kind of going behind, like cutting around and saying, oh, well, I really like this sitter. Let me just hire you.
Coaching, right?
Yes,
Like,
yeah.
So in my terms and services on both ends, the sitters, once they're joining the club, there's no fee associated from the sitter side. I don't take any, percentage. You actually, this is a really good point because I wasn't even going to go there, but I don't take anything from the sitters. You pay the sitter directly.
Okay.
So the fee is paid by families to be members to have access to the club.
Which is a great membership, and I would totally pay to do that. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a monthly membership.
I love that.
Or if you, let's say you have a really good pool of sitters, but there's a one-off night where your sitters are busy, you could use the service and pay a one-time fee.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then there's the placement fee if, you're looking for more consistent. You may not need like the monthly piece, but you want help finding like that shared nanny or the part-time nanny. There's a fee associated with that. But terms and conditions are put together on both ends.
Yeah.
So when the sitters join, they understand, I'm not trying to micromanage people.
Yeah.
You're going to need, like, if you're her sitter, you guys need to exchange contact information, But I'm trusting, like, the honesty policy.
Like a non-compete in a business. It would be
Exactly.
like, you agree to work with my business and have a non-compete. Yeah.
Yep. So this way, if the family, they try to take the sitter for their own, there's just, that piece of being.
Karma.
Yeah. Yes. I know. Integrity. Yes.
So I could, but I just hope that people understand that.
And integrity of it all.
And I really hope that people, see the value in this. That if you're a member, like, I'm taking a big stressor off of your plate.
Yeah.
So use it. Continue. Why,
Right.
yeah, maybe you're a great sitter, but then what if you're not available? You still need access to other pools.
Yeah.
So you kind of still need the club.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping that people don't do
No,
that. But I'm sure it's going to happen.
Yeah, we just did an episode.
Maybe a one-off.
Yeah,
Right.
we just did an episode on maternal mental health awareness, and I feel like having a sitter and like a service like this takes such a load off of that mental load that moms have. Like knowing, like, hey, if I do need a break, and you should take a break as moms. Like, it's hard that moms always feel like they have to keep going. Don't be a martyr.
Yeah.
But it's good to know that there's a service whenever I need a break that I can call.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
100%. I think it's so important. And that's what always came up in my work with whether it be friends or my clients that are moms. It's needing a break and feeling that you can't take one. For me, my mom watched my kids while I was at work. So then if I wanted to do something outside of work hours, even do my client notes, let's say, I didn't have help, or like go get my nails done, go to dinner with my husband. I felt the guilt of calling her because like, she was just here.
Yeah.
And
I was going to say, who do you use? Like, you're taking time for yourself. I mean, because right now you have a full-time, day job, and now you're building a business.
Yes.
Are you taking time for yourself?
Oh, yes.
Okay, good.
So I have that's the one thing when my second came, I was like, we need more help outside of the family.
Yep.
So I have an amazing sitter that I found.
great. Yeah.
And she's actually like we've been toying with this idea and going back and forth because she's a professional nanny. She was a stay-at-home mom. Her kids are now college and beyond. And she's like wanting to, help other moms.
Right.
And I've kind of picked her brain throughout this process because I feel like, again, it's been an idea that I've had for 4 years.
Yep.
And within the past year that I really like tried to dive into it because I thought logistically, this is such a great idea. Why hasn't anybody else done it?
It is.
So I'm like, there must be a barrier.
Yeah.
Like maybe you can get liability insurance or what from the business. And I'm not a business
But you
person.
figured it out.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right, let me kind of start to explore. So
What a boss mom move. I love that.
Like that's it. That's exactly, you have to jump.
Yeah.
My mom used to say, this jump and the net appears, you know?
Yeah.
and I think like I was kind of not taking the jump and I was like halfway. I'm like,
I know what you mean. You kept making excuses.
yeah.
Yeah. But then
And I'm
one day you're like, I'm going
I
to do
don't
it.
know, I don't have the time or I'm not sure. Or back to like somebody else, like, why didn't anybody else do this? There must be something. And I don't know if I want that extra stress because I am like, I'm helping grow another business at the same time. Seeing my, like, I feel like I'm already have my hands in so many
Yeah.
things. And my kids are so little that I'm like, I don't know. But then I'm also like, no, I really.
The world needs it. It's like kind of like Uber. Like obviously there were
Yeah.
taxis before. So I'm sure in Uber's mind, it's like,
true.
well, you could call a car service, but let's make this even easier.
Yes.
Exactly.
Convenience factor.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like you're just doing there's a need and there's other examples that exist, but you're just making it even easier.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
true. Now, how does the rates work? So does the sitter,
For
give
hourly
their
rate?
and then it's, someone say I call and I'm like, I'm willing to spend $20 an hour.
Yep.
And then you give me the sitters that
Yep.
fall into that bracket.
Yeah, because I had toyed with the idea of setting a consistent rate, but I feel like sitters. So let me actually say too, all of my sitters are over 18. So I think that the high school population for like they can't really engage in a contract, which goes
Right.
back to like the whole point of poaching. But so everybody's over 18. But that's a wide range. You have an 18-year-old, a high school senior is expecting a different rate than my full-time
Seasoned,
professional seasoned nanny.
Yep.
So instead of, again, I don't want to be overly involved in the sitters and the families. So I'm the matchmaker.
Yeah.
Right.
You're expecting a certain rate or you're willing to spend. Okay, here's the pool of candidates that will do that. So this way I don't set anybody's rate for them.
That's great.
That's great.
It's an expected range. So I ask the sitters, what is your range? What are you willing? Do you charge extra for additional children? And then matching people based on that.
That is so great.
And some people are like, hey, it's a Friday night. I'm going to put my kids to bed if I have little kids,
Yeah.
and I just need somebody to watch the monitor.
Yeah.
I think that's a different
Yeah.
expectation.
Totally. Then
Right? Then, hey, I'm leaving to go, golfing with
all
my
day I still
husband all
entertain
day.
my kids all day, feed them.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you want a different level of experience.
Right.
For that,
100%,
correct?
yes.
So it's kind of like
you-
you need that range.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have reviews, I guess?
Yes.
That's awesome.
So, in new families that are coming in on both ends, I'm doing reviews.
I love
want
that.
reviews. I want the sitters to talk about what an easy access it is for them to be able to just pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm free Friday and kind of play that matchmaking role. And then for the families too. So I have reviews on both ends.
Like Uber.
Literally like Uber. And
love that.
as we continue to grow, I want there to be like your family has a profile, the sitter has a profile, and then you have reviews. So if you're looking at your past reviews, you could see the families that you've worked for.
And it's important too, as a sitter, to be like, oh, that family's always going to run late, or like, something like, or like you want to know also as a sitter expectations. So I love how there's reviews on both ends.
Yeah, because it's not one side isn't as important. You need both to make this work.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's important to have both ends' voices be heard, like
Yeah.
the families, their experience, but also the sitters, and it might be a little bit different. And that's the one thing I will say about all the other sites is you don't really get feedback from sitters.
Yeah.
It's all about the families.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So
So on your end, is everything automated or are you still going through and okay, so that's a lot of work for you.
yeah, I think that's the part of it being boutique. Like,
Right.
I need to have it be involved. So I do have a scheduling platform that I can start to implement that will
awesome.
just kind of help out with, like, whoever needs a Friday night and we have the pool of sitters, they'll have access to that. And then so it's sort of like a restaurant, if you guys have ever worked in a restaurant where you can pick up a shift, right?
Yeah.
But I need to approve your shift.
Yeah.
Because if you are trying to match with your family, but I don't think personality-wise,
Yeah.
I'm not approving
I
that.
love that.
No, that's so good.
So it
That
is-
level of care is
Yeah, that's
phenomenal.
so- I
know.
That's deep.
Yeah.
You know,
And that's
like
why I want to keep it small so this way you're able to do that. So it isn't just like, okay, a free-for-all of
Right.
like anybody can kind of get
Jump on.
matched. Like
Yeah.
it really you need for when you're involving kids and families, like you want that. You want to know that it's a personality match. And not all the time. Somebody could be a really great sitter, but it's just not a good fit for your family or your kid.
I love that. Yep. And their ages even. Like maybe they have older children, younger, whatever. And you know who can be and what should be.
Yeah. So you really, I feel like that's important, but it is also time consuming.
Oh, yeah.
Did you start this business on your own?
Yes.
So it's you? That's amazing.
Yes. And I was just telling Sue before we walked in. So there's a woman that I was connected to who's a professional nanny. And I really felt like I'm good with the family side, and I'm tapping into her to come in as a partner to really handle the sitters. And she has great relationships. She's been in this area for a long time. Shout out to Jen.
Jen.
And she can really like help with the personality and matching. So she's going to be coming on board to really help manage the sitters and kind of like bridge the gap. So it'll be like my focus on like the family side of thing, gaining new members, the back end stuff, and she'll be kind of helping out with always bringing in. I feel like that's the thing is going to always be like you need a constant flow.
For sure.
She actually told me, she's like, for each family you need 5 sitters because
I have an army, and my army is all getting older now. Like they're post college, so they
don't have time.
I'll be calling soon because they don't like they're busy doing their own things now. It's not like they need that extra cash. They're real jobs.
Exactly. That's when I start to see the shift. Like when my own sitters, they're like, well, I want to go out with my friends and I don't really need the money. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. You're right.
True. You're absolutely
So the army is huge. You need the army. You need to have a strong pool. And as the business, as the family memberships grow, you have to grow the pool of candidates and sitters too.
I love how you're looking at it as a true business. Like that's a business formula.
Yeah.
And I'm
learning.
And the quality part, right? Quality, you're bringing in somebody to help with the nanny side. So like you're making sure your business is good quality.
People.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Because you can have families lined up out the door, right? Being like, oh, this is a great service. But if you don't if you're not putting quality sitters and having that match, then the reputation that will impact.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. How have you been marketing the business, or has it been like word of mouth so far?
So it's been really word of mouth.
Yeah.
Posting on social media. I have brochures in a lot of local businesses and partnering there. Like I don't know if you're familiar with like the Peach Pit and like Little Chicken and kind of tapping into already established places where families and sitters go because I'm trying to hit both.
Right.
So even my brochure, like the front side is geared at the families, explaining the model to them, and the other side is geared at sitters because you have to build the business on both ends. Right. So really right now it's a lot of word of mouth.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Which I think that's like so old school in thinking because social media. But I also think like it grows that way.
Absolutely.
Especially for this kind of business.
That's the best, endorsement you can possibly get is having somebody say, hey, listen, I use this service. It's incredible. And I'm going to tell everybody about it, and it's organic, which is beautiful. And the social media is like the next level.
Yeah, we got to post
you
on like Monmouth County Moms group and everyone will go crazy over it.
But I will say like, because I'm still working another job and growing this business on my own and with Jen's help, I need it to be organically because I'm like I can't just have the floodgates,
right?
And then because then I'm gonna lose sight too of like the intimacy, of like really being able to take the time, get to know the family, understand their kids' needs, and understand the sitters to find that perfect match.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
It'll all work itself out the way it's like you'll scale, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And you'll pull in the right people that you need at the time, and they'll care.
I do actually have a lot of people who are like, oh my God, when you're ready to grow, like I would love to be like a coordinator of a location, like maybe the Peninsula has one, and then the Middletown chapter, and whatever.
Or even expand into different parts of New Jersey.
Yeah,
south,
but I always feel like you need to have like a point person to be able to like be the face.
Yeah.
And what I will say about Navasink Wellness, which is the place that I'm supervising and a clinician at, when you call, there is a live person that picks up the phone.
Wow.
That's not the case for many practices or businesses, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like you need, especially with this, like you're a mom who's stressed, who's for the first time thinking about having a stranger in with your kids, like you need to talk to somebody.
Especially if you're like, I'm not sure if I should do this. You're on the fence about it.
Yeah. You need to be able to talk to someone.
Yeah.
So I think this idea, I see growth, but scale to me is just as important as the growth of the business. Because I've thought about every chapter and every part of New Jersey, but I'm like, it has to be done right.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate that that's how you're looking at it
Yeah, the
and your
quality of
philosophy. Yeah, totally. Because you're so right. I didn't even think about that, but you bringing that up, how many times I've ever called someone and you're right. We're all to the max. Like,
Oh my God. Any business,
and if I'm
person.
getting like a fucking automated thing and it's like press 1, press 4, press 5, I'm like, ah!
I know after
I'm
5
hanging up.
minutes. Yeah.
I want to hear a human being on the other
Yeah.
end. Like, hi, I'm here to help you.
Yeah,
you know?
especially for when you're vulnerable.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're so right. You're
You know,
so
and those
right.
things. There's some services where, fine, I can schedule it online or not talk to somebody. But for other things like,
I guess if you've done it before, like kind of like a haircut, I've been, with my hairdresser, so fine, you can schedule online. But the first time, maybe I have questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
exactly.
yeah.
So I think that that's just important, is to be able to have like that hand-holding, I guess, or, support.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you, by the way, for taking that first step. So that first step that you took to start the business, how was it? How'd you feel? What made
I've
you
been
do it?
talking about it for so long, and I think that I was picking the brains of my friends, and one of my friends was like, just do it. Like, you already are there. Like, like, what do you need? I guess the question was, what do you need to do it? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't actually know what I need. Like, I started to look at other businesses. So there's a babysitting service like down in Florida who has a similar model. There's a woman in New York City. I called them both. They were lovely. They kind of walked me through like,
Oh, that's so sweet.
oh, yes, which I think that was huge for me, because I was like, the woman that I spoke to is in the city. It's called Project Date Night. And she was like, you could do this. Like, what do you need to know? I'm here to help. Can I send you forms?
so
Like,
cool.
she was amazing.
That's awesome.
So it was really like support, right? And I was like, wait, I've already spoken to attorneys. I've already researched this. Hold on, what do I need?
Yeah.
A logo? What do I need?
Yeah.
Like, I already have a name. So I was like, one weekend, my mom was like, I'll take the kids. And I just sat and I like put everything together. And I was like, you know what? All right, I'm just going to post.
Wow.
And I did. And I got so much like great feedback that I'm like, all right, let's
From your
do
own
this.
sphere, right? From people you know.
Yeah, just from people I know.
That's,
Incredible.
So you got to trust in yourself and take that lead.
You do. That was so important. You said it's like you have to take the lead.
Yeah.
No one's ever going to really like do it for you and be like, oh, here, like, let me help.
And
Right.
you were afraid, right? I'm sure.
Oh, my
But
God.
you felt the fear and you did it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do hard things,
Yes.
I feel like you have to.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and also, like, that's what we're showing our kids, right? At the end of the day, too, is like, you are capable. You can have a dream and you can really make it come true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we say that all the time to them, but then when it comes to
Right.
us, we like have our own
What's
like
up?
our own resistance. Where I'm like, wait a minute, here I am telling my kid, like, come on, you got this.
Yeah,
I'm like,
dream
wait, I need
big.
to say this to
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
And there will always be excuses.
Always.
Million excuses.
You never
Why
have
no?
time, right?
Yes.
My biggest one was time. Like, I don't have the time for this. I barely have time now. Like, how am I going to jump on calls with families and talk and vet sitters? Like, when am I going to find the time? You
Figure it
just
out.
have to prioritize.
Yeah. And you'll figure it out.
And figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it, and I love the name so much.
So then how was
I was so stuck on the name The Babysitters Club.
And was it
so
hard
cute.
to trademark that?
It not as hard as you would think.
Good.
Because I guess that it's been so many years.
That's awesome.
They've
Oh,
interesting. You learn a lot. So I was actually, that was my main thing, that I'm like, I want this name, because I always came back to that name, and I know it's like, it's catchy. It's like,
It's also perfect for
Totally.
our generation as
Yes,
well.
you're right.
Right.
Because we resonate with
Yeah.
that.
exactly. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I need something that'll stick out. And I was like, all right, that's going to be like the true test. If I can get the name, I could do this. And they were like,
And the universe was like, yes, you can.
and I was like, oh my God.
Like, here you go.
Yeah. Because then I would have had to sit and think about that, and that would have probably taken a couple months, because, who had
Now
the
what?
time
Yeah.
to think about a new name. So that was like my main sign too. It was my friend being like, what do you need? And I'm like, I really don't need much.
Yeah.
And then the name being available.
And how long has it been now?
Only like 2 months.
That's awesome.
Get it, girl.
And then look, see how far you've come. That's so cool. And like
I
1
know
year
already.
Yeah. And like 1 year from now, you're gonna be like, look at how far I came.
Sky's
So
the
I
limit.
will say, like, met you guys at Monmouth Moms.
Mm-hmm.
And that was sort of like my moment where I was already starting to put stuff together, but I wasn't really posting yet. And I was like, let me come here and get some inspiration.
Yeah. And then you left feeling inspired.
Left feeling inspired, and I said to myself, I want to be there next year.
Yeah.
Like, that's a goal.
Yeah.
To be like
Absolutely.
part of it in some way, to
Right.
either present, like have
Yeah.
a table, something like that's a goal for 1 year, is to be, because what an amazing event that was.
Yeah.
That was so good.
It just shows
Yeah.
the power of like being around high level thinking and inspiring people.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the risk takers, right?
Yeah.
I think the theme,
Yeah.
kind of listening to all of the women from that event, were that they had this idea,
And we're afraid.
and we're
Yeah.
afraid, and like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
try it anyway.
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly. So you get
I can
that
see you on that
energy.
stage.
yes.
But you get that energy, right? You're like, wait a minute, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yes.
And you kind of just need that like boost. And my husband, my family's, everyone's been supportive, but I think they don't think about it through the same lens, right? Because it's also going to take me away from my kids a little bit. So it's like working through all those things. When you hear it from another mom, it just resonates a little different.
Yeah. And there'll always be, I feel like, bumps in the roads. There's always going to be like points where you are stressed, but no pressure, no diamonds.
Yeah.
So, you just have to kind of feel it, go through the growing pains.
Yeah.
Because as you grow, I'm sure there'll be some stressors. But
Oh yeah, there's already been things that I'm like, ooh, I should change this. Like you I think you have to be like flexible too. And like understanding it's a service too. So you have to listen to
the people.
the feedback. Yeah.
like, being out there. What do families need? What do sitters really need and look for? Like being able to, because that's what's going to make it successful is people will buy in because they're being heard.
Yes. People just want to be heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
Such a cool idea.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. And I feel like it's such a need, especially for moms, like,
Yeah.
for their sanity, for their marriage, for their friendships, right? Like for
everything.
their work life. There's so many.
You're so dependent on that help, right? Because you can't do anything without somebody being there for your kids.
Yep.
I just want to say to any mom who feels guilty about taking time away from being away from their kids, I know, there's always going to be that guilt, but don't feel guilty because in the end, you're going to show up as a better mom.
100%.
Better version of yourself.
Because you got away, you got a break, and then you're going to be refreshed.
Yep.
Your kids are going to see you happy.
Right.
Yeah.
That is very, very true. I can attest to that. I like that. And that I've been going out to dinner so much. But, there's obviously times, especially after Mike passed away, I'm like, I'm a single mom. It's all on me. And and of course, do I feel guilty? Yeah. But you want to know what? I show up as a better person, like a more calm,
present.
Yes.
Yeah.
Calm person. That's not like, ah.
Well, because you're on.
I still do that sometimes.
Of course. Who
all
does
do.
it?
Yeah, exactly. Whoever says they don't, I don't.
Right. Yeah.
But you're right. Like if you don't take that break, you're at capacity.
Yeah.
You can't give 24/7 and not take anything.
Then you're
yourself.
stressing
And I
your
think
kids
too,
out. Yeah.
like for couples, I think it is so important too. Like date nights, you guys are the foundation at the end of the day. Do you know what I'm saying? And like if you guys are solid, then the rest of the house is solid. And so I think it's really important for parents to take that time for each other, for sure.
I always say it's like that pyramid model. Like you for yourself, right? You have to be able to regulate your own emotions and really create your own sense of happiness, whatever that may be, then with your partner and then with your family. Because if you don't have that foundation, like
you have nothing to
everything else starts to fall apart.
Yeah.
And I do hear a lot, it's funny, with younger kids, I think when you first, like when you're in that newborn toddler, like it's a tap in and out method of like, okay, you go out and I'll stay home. And you aren't doing anything
together.
as a couple.
Yes.
And then you're losing that connection.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my husband and I lately, like he'll go, then I'll go out. And then I realize like we need to get out of the house because even if the kids are asleep, you're home, you're stressed.
Right.
Something about getting out of the
change of
home.
environment.
And you open up and you can talk. And you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And feel like an adult, like an adult that has some sort of independence still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get out and see the world.
Yeah. That's like the number one thing for like, new moms and dads is like getting back to some sense of yourself. But what do you need to be able to do that?
Yeah.
You need help. Yeah. And it's okay to accept the help.
1,000%. Yeah.
And not have to always tap into family. I think our generation too is like, you kept it within the family.
Yes.
Your parents, nobody else watched
no
you.
one watched me.
Yeah. I never had
stayed home until I was like 16. I'm like, can you leave me alone? Like, go find a job.
I love that. Yes, I never had a sitter either. So, but I have them now, and I'm so grateful. And I still have my mom too, and she's great. But I don't want to always stress her, and it's so good to have my sitters to call on too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You need a back to the army. You can't just rely on one person.
No.
Can't be you, can't be your husband, can't be your parents. Like it has to be a pool of people. So this way.
It takes a village. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you guys for having me.
I can't wait to use your service.
Yes,
I will be a member. So yeah.
And so remind everybody the Instagram for is Babysitters Club NJ.
Babysitters Club NJ. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Well, we're gonna link everything.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And happy birthday.
Thank you.
Can we say that?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you all. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.